Welcome back, St. Lucia, to Fashion Sense. Before the break, we spoke about a number of things. We talked about construction. We talked about
Mine went out.
we talked about construction, and we talked about a host of other things, putting things together, knowing about the fabric, what fabric goes with what design, and what patterns, and getting the fabric, and a lot of things. But before we went on break, Erica was telling us about the schools, telling us about the programs in schools and how the Carmen Penco School of Fashion Art takes into consideration all what was done with SEDU and SLISBA and the Ministry of Commerce. But then you started telling us about in the secondary schools.
Yes, I remember in 2010 we had a workshop with the teachers who teach home economics and clothing and textile at the secondary schools, and they were a bit confused as to what to really teach the children. And they were asking for help at that time, and there was supposed to be a continuation of what we started, but of course it never came through. And even now, with the knowledge that we had gathered after all of our research in the industry for the last 5 years, when we went to the Ministry of Commerce, and of course we've been meeting with TVET, and we've been speaking with Mr. Samuels at the TVET department.
Tell us what TVET is.
Technical vocational training in the Ministry of Commerce. Okay, they deal really with the skill component of the syllabus, and this is one of the concerns that I had as an individual, that students go to the secondary schools. Yes, they do home economic and clothing and textile, but where is clothing and textile really taking these kids to? I remember one of the officers at the Ministry of Commerce one time calling me, and she was saying, there's this young lady who has such a passion to become a fashion designer, and of course everybody is discouraging her. And why? Because growing up, we saw our parents hustling on a machine, just like what I said before. In order to do this, you need to work from 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. You really do not have a life. And of course, we all know in St. Lucia, artists are the poorest of the poor. And that is how they see a seamstress. But we are not talking about being a seamstress. We're talking about going beyond that. Because in the fashion world, there's so much that you can do. There is merchandising, there is pattern making, there is marketing. You know, there's so many areas that you could go into. But who is going to sell it? Who is going to tell them if nobody knows about what the industry offers? And here is a perfect opportunity to introduce those students from the Form 1 what fashion really is about and what opportunities you have. And even on the break we were talking, and Mrs. Penco brought to your attention, in the wider world, you would rather be a friend of a fashion designer than a doctor.
Yes.
You know, there's so much that can be gained from it, but proper training has to be given. And even when speaking with Mr. Samuels, I did bring to his attention, if we cannot train the teachers how to deliver the program, then students will not have the desire to go into clothing and textile, because where do I go? Where do I go? I don't want to sit on a machine and make $20 a day. I mean, everybody's becoming a doctor and a lawyer and an engineer. Why can't I live that kind of lifestyle?
And you're putting in, you know, exactly the same amount of effort, the
exactly,
same long hours a day, and
you
you're not making the returns. St. Lucia, the lines are open. Feel free to join in the conversation at any point.
Yeah, so we are right now embarking. We're really hoping to meet the teachers, because we all know that CVQ is now out. And
tell us what CVQ is.
Caribbean vocational qualifications.
Just for the viewers at home, they need to know what we're talking about.
And this certificate, after you have gotten the certificate, you could work throughout the region. You could go to any Caribbean island, and you could present it and say, okay, I do have a certificate in my specific field. And it doesn't only speak to students, it also speaks to the wider population who for years have been trained in a particular skill, be it carpentry, plumbing. I'm sure people know about CVQ because it have been spoken about for the last few months, you know. And with the CVQ coming on, there is a new syllabus that the teachers will now have to deliver to the students, and there are specific things there's the specific needs that they have to put to the students, and a lot of it speaks to the fashion world. And we had a hell of a time trying to understand. We sat down for almost a day and a half trying to understand what is it the syllabus is speaking to. And I must say, I must thank one of the teachers from the secondary school who came to us asking for help, because there's a lot that she did not understand, and she really wanted to reach out to her students, because she said nobody wants to choose clothing and textile, and the subject is being pulled out from the secondary schools because, again, students are not interested in learning to do embroidery. Where am I going with this?
Is it that they're not interested, or is it that, as you said earlier, that it's not being delivered? Because these are value-added things to your clothing. Like when your clothing has beading and embroidery and all of those fancy appliques and whatnot, this is people doing that, right? And when you have these hand-stitched things, it adds value to your outfit.
But remember, to everything there must be education. And if I'm going to go down to Access, and if I'm going to go down to Hobby, and I do not know anything about clothing, I know nothing about seconds, I know nothing about cheap garments, and I see a top with the very same thing for $20, and then when I come to you, you're going to charge me $150, where do you think I'm going to go? With the cost of living? I will go to Hobby and I will get it.
So it goes back to what we spoke about earlier, where we must get some sort of intervention from the government agencies to help us to be able to get the factors of production down. We have our first call. Thank you for calling Newsmaker Live. You're on the air. Good night.
Apparently,
Yes.
I tuned in a little late, and I find the program very interesting. But I've been waiting and waiting to hear some more about the school, because that's something I've always been interested in. And I am waiting, and I have not heard where the school is located, how much is the cost, and when is the course being offered, and so on. So please come on and let me know what.
Okay, so we're going to deal with that now. We're going to answer all of your questions now. Thank you for calling. So,
okay, thank you.
Mrs. Penco, America.
Okay, Carmen Penco School of Fashion Arts. We were located at Tuya in Bois d'Orge. It's on your way to Windjammer. If you drive in there, you will see our sign. It's up. We only opened in June, and we are still putting our programs together. Like Mrs. Penco said earlier, we have come up with about 80 courses, 80 programs that we have put together. And where costing is concerned, we would really like to sit one-on-one with potential clients, potential students, to explain to them. Because what we've realized, a lot of people have come to us in the last month and they say, you know what, well, I like to sew bags. Or I just want to do something for myself and my child. But as you speak to them, you begin to hear that passion coming out. Do you want to do it and become a fashion designer as a career, or is it something you just want to sew in your own little community? So as we speak to them, we gather information, and based on that, we could help direct you in the best way that you should go. Because again, one of our aims is to create small economies. You go to your community and you form your own cottage industry where you now could bring that skill to your community.
What is your size? I can imagine that you won't have a class or run a program for one person or two people. So what is the minimum number of people that you want to have in your class to make it worthwhile? We talked about costing, to make it worthwhile so that you can have the course, and how long will what is the shortest period of time you can run a course for, the longest period of time you can run a course for? When do you envision seeing your first course starting?
Okay,
but let's put it this way. We were targeting to have at least 10 students. A lot of people are now hearing about us, okay? So it's very difficult to get 10 people to come in and want to do the same thing. So because we're also going to be online, we have started an online program with this same courses that we are doing. It gives you the opportunity now to say, okay, you want to start your course, no problem, come in, let's teach you the basics first, make you understand what you are getting into, what you are doing, and we will follow you up on through on the online program, okay? Or you could come into school and do it. The way we are setting up our school is that, the way we are setting up our courses is, if there is a particular course that you as a student come in and you find that you forgot certain things, all you need, and they're going to be on CDs, all you need to do is come in and say, okay, you know something, Erica, I did not get that last part. Could I look at it again? And it will be just like I am delivering the course again, or the instructor is delivering the course. The courses, the school itself is really designed for the people, and I keep stressing this, the people in the Caribbean, because we are dealing with people who really haven't got an idea about what this industry is all about.
So even though you've been sewing for a little while now, maybe 5-10 years, you could come in and do a basic course.
Correct.
Just to make sure that you have the basics right. Because it's like building a house.
Correct.
You need to have a solid foundation.
Definitely.
And a lot of us learned, we apprenticed with someone, and that person apprenticed with someone
else.
And so if you learn badly, you know, you will teach badly.
Correct. Correct.
Yes.
So we are encouraging, the thing is that what we would like to see, that anybody who start the program, we can tell you that if you do it the way we are telling you to do it, in less than a month you can start earning money, because our courses are structured that way. Okay, and one of the things we're going to be doing too in the school is that students and people who have taken our courses, because we believe and we know that they'll be able to do things, we are encouraging them that make things, bring it to the school, and we will have a monthly sale on the evening. We want to develop that, okay? And we are not making anything, but this is for the people who made it. So they have an outlet where they could sell their things.
What are the hours of your school? From what time do you start to operate?
Well, she did ask, you asked about the shortest program and the longest program. Our shortest program is 6 weeks. And we have certificate, we have diploma, we have just developed an associate degree, which goes into a 3.5 year program. Hours, we do our hours. It's not a full time. You don't have to come from 9 in the morning to 5. You could come in 2 hours, 2-hour class. But we could move at your pace. You could come in, get your work done, get your assignments, go home, bring it back.
Regardless of the program that you're doing. But we have another call online. So good evening. Thank you for calling Newsmaker Live. You're on the air.
Yes, hello.
Yes.
What about persons from, let's say, Chotel or Soufrière, who are actually interested in this kind of thing? And, you know, the transportation would be just so difficult for persons who are really interested in doing this kind of thing.
Is it that the transportation at any point, or are you worried about transportation in the evening, during the day, or are you worried about the cost of the transportation?
Yeah, the cost itself, or all this, and the time, and you know, some persons work to, and then they need time to do these things, because I know there have a lot of persons who have the passion to do this, but they do not have the time and also the money to go further into these things.
All right. So thank you for calling. Thank you for your comment. Okay. So you find that there would be people who are unemployed who want to do this, but then of course money would be a factor. So they would need to know. But you're saying that you can come in and you can discuss the cost and
if someone comes into us and they say, look, this is all I could afford, and this is, I want to go into this, we can guide you to say, well, okay, don't do this, go here. So this is what's going to allow you to make some money. Right now, we have put school uniform programs together. And we have said, listen, come and take the school uniform program. It's a 6-week. Some people finish it in a month.
So yeah, that's interesting. Tell us about some of the courses. So you have a school uniform program where they learn how to make school uniforms?
Sure. And so they're learning how to make the shirt, the pants, and we teach you how to make the basic block. You have to learn how to do that, because we don't want, if you have a 9-year-old and you want to make a block, you don't know how to do it. So we teach you how to do that. However, When you are finished, we are giving you all the blocks to start. So it isn't something that you have to struggle with again.
Right,
You
right.
leave the school with the patterns
So you
that you
kind
can
of
start to work.
specialize in
We
a field
specialize
until you get to where you want to
Right.
be.
Right, because if you earn money with that, you will say, you know something, I like what I'm doing. So let me go and do do something else again, okay? And you could start doing little programs at a time, the things that you like. Right now we do soft furnishings. We teach you how to make sheets, how to put.
So how much would a course like that if I wanted to do, I want to make some money. I'm not employed. I'm 25 years old. God knows I probably will not be employed for a while. How do I get into that to make uniforms? Because I know we have about 20 secondary school, maybe about 60 primary schools, and all these kids need uniforms. But before you answer, we have another call. Thank you for calling Newsmaker Alive. You're on the air.
Hi, good evening. How are you, ladies?
Good evening.
Good.
I'm fine, thanks.
Good.
Great. Quick question. Is it possible that you can actually distribute your number over the air so I can talk, I guess, in person with you rather than on air?
That's possible,
Yes.
and we'll do that right now.
Yes.
So go ahead and just give your number.
Our number is 724-5375 or 717-4455.
Take it slow.
Take it slow.
Take it slow, and hopefully we'll be able to put it on the screen. But take it slow, Erica, so that they can take down the number.
724-5375 717-4455. We also on Facebook, www.comment. Why is this? It's Carmen Penco School of Fashion Arts. Sorry. And our email address is cpsfashionarts@gmail.com.
Okay.
So you could contact us on any one of these any one of these
And if you
medium.
forget,
medium.
put my name, Carmen Penco @hotmail.com. Easy to remember, and I
Yes.
will just forward it to the school for you.
Okay,
Yes.
wonderful. So later on, you'll also give that number out
Number
again, because I'm
again,
certainly
yes.
sure we're still getting people tuning in,
Right.
or they were scrambling to get a pen and pencil or a
Yeah.
paper and couldn't get it. So you'll announce it a little bit
I want
later
to
on.
address the young lady who called before.
Yes, mhm.
She said she was what about people in Schwarzell? We have been in touch with NSDC because again, because we have worked with NSDC in Miku, we thought it would be a good thing. And after the last meeting that we had at Bay Gardens, within the fashion industry again, and we have been in negotiations trying to figure out how could we reach the people in the South. And we know most of them, again, because of the fact that the hours they work and so on, we would probably have to go down to them. But it is something that is already in discussions. With NSDC, we have spoken to them about the possibility of using their facilities in Miku, for instance, to provide a program to the people in the South. So we are mindful of them. We know that they're always saying that everything is always in the north. So negotiations are in progress right now, and we can assure them that we will be coming to them.
Okay, so St. Lucia, the Carmen Penco School of Fashion Arts is located in Truria in Waterwash. However, and so if you can get to the school, bravo, you will get access to the school. But if you can't, and you have the luxury of time, then the school will come to you.
Yes,
right?
most definitely.
Right.
Also, I would like to also inform all the young, talented individuals out there. We are going to be putting out a competition where people will be able to draft out to do a design. It does it design and to come in with that design. And what we intend to do is to bring in a few judges on that day, and also designers who will be working with these young individuals for the next 2 weeks, where we now could pull out a few of them, were the better ones, and at the end of the program, what we intend to do is to give a scholarship to the winning individuals.
Wonderful.
So there are things that we have on the table. We're also trying to
Before you go on, is there an age limit to that competition?
is what, 16 to 30.
Okay,
16 to 30 years.
I can participate in that. not that I'm dating myself or anything, but we're older than 16 and a little longer in the tooth than 30. So, yeah.
Yeah. And there are a number of ideas that we have to include people throughout the different communities, but we're gonna leave the little suspense there for a little while. But we are coming to the different communities. We are bringing fashion to them, and we will want them to participate, get involved. And our hope is to have it as a year-round event, because, like we say, we targeting events, and we have events throughout the year. So why not make it a fashion activity? You understand? Fashion is everywhere.
Do you see yourself or your school having or hosting an event like haute couture or something like that in the future?
I don't know about the word haute couture, but I know we will be hosting things. That much I can guarantee you. Whether it would be, I think what we want to do, we want to show what our motto is all for one St. Lucia. Okay,
Nice.
that's our motto. And we want the people from all the communities to know that they are also people that we are thinking about. We want them to have something like, if you want to say, I remember years ago we used to have this Best Village competition in Trinidad.
Yes, we had that here too.
Right. I would love to see that come back, but we want it to come back in the arts.
Right.
And have people realize, well, you know, maybe I could sing, maybe I could dance, maybe I can do this. So why don't we fuse all the fashion things together? And that is how we are going to build, for me, all for one St. Lucia, and give people that we can, there's a harmony among all of us. There's a harmony that we can use. Even if one decide, you know something, let's bring a setup where we're going to put machines, and people who want to come and sew now can rent those machines, rent a space, okay, and they can produce their garments.
Right.
Okay, so now we're opening something else again.
Like the barbershop concept. You have a barber shop, it's just one person owning it, but every barber in that shop
they rent a
rents
chair. Correct, something like that, you know. So these other people, the different little people who do not have, for instance, a buttonhole machine or a heavy-duty machine and things like that, they could come and say, well, look, I want to make these garments. Could you allot me a certain time? Come and sew your garments. Nice. And then we are going to try to see if we can bring those people together and help them to get their garments sell. And then ultimately, from the school, pick out the cream of the crop and try to get their garments overseas.
Wonderful. Now, you mentioned about they can come in and rent a machine or whatever. I love that. But it just struck me, what about those of us who are starting out? We don't have a machine. So we've done the basics. We come to do the basic and we're learning to cut and sew. I don't know what the program will be, the curriculum will be like. Machines.
Well, if anybody is listening to this and they have plenty of money and want to get us some machines, so that will be wonderful. No, I think we have all these things on our work table, okay? We are going to get there, but like everything else, it takes time, okay? And once we can understand the needs, we're going to try to fulfill those needs.
So how many people can you accommodate right now? Say tomorrow you were able to start a program. How many people would you be able to accommodate in your basic course?
We could accommodate between 10 and 15 people.
Right now,
yes,
presently?
Yes.
And you'd have all the equipment that you'd need to...
We do. Yes, we do.
One thing we need to bear in mind, when it comes to fashion designing, you do not go on a machine 2 weeks after.
You
correct?
don't?
No.
No, we don't.
No.
I'm thinking I can go.
That's what I realized.
Yes,
You were saying,
I
do you
go-
need all the equipment?
Yeah, I can go on a machine
No,
in
you don't.
2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks.
Depends on how long your program is and where your weaknesses are. We work with you. But when it comes to fashion designing, there's so much more that you need to know before you could find yourself on that machine. There's so much that you need to get
but
into.
in the case of the uniform program, the school uniform program, I would need to get into on a machine
Of
right
course,
now
again,
to accommodate or to take it into the summer months.
right.
The summer months before
Right.
school opens in September.
Yeah. Well, with that program, of course, we need to get you on the machine, or if you have a machine at home, we allow you to go home with the assignments and bring it in, and we look at it and we tell you where you went wrong, and we help
So
you
it
get
depends
along.
on
So
the
it depends
program.
on the
Yeah,
program.
I need to point out something here. A lot of people say that we learn construction at school or we did construction courses. When you're learning something, like for instance, you want to learn how to do a seam, or you're learning how to put in a collar, you're doing these things in miniature patterns, a small pocket. But when you have to actually sew it and sew a collar onto a full-size garment, that's where you start to see the little problems and the quality that is lacking in it.
I cannot wait to see myself 6 weeks from starting and to put together I could just see the most grotesque thing ever. But I'm willing to try at some point if I could just get out of my shell and say, okay, yeah, I could try something. I know it may not necessarily be the best, right away, but then at least it's a work in progress. But we've run out of time. Your final thoughts, your final words.
Well, I would like to encourage people to see fashion designing as a career, as fashion designers, and a respected career. Because we have distorted it here in the Caribbean by saying dressmakers and because our parents, or you find parents who are struggling because they do not know about the patterns, but they're trying their best, okay? They have a family to take care of. We want those young people who have that wish and that dream to become a fashion designer to come to us, and we can tell you, you can see where you are going. We can actually educate you in what fashion designing is all about, and it is not, don't let what happened at the schools deter you from doing it at all, okay? Our courses, you don't have to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars going to an international school when you could get the same kind of training here, okay? And I say, people, give yourself a chance, just come and listen to what we have to say, because we have soft furnishings. I mean, there is so many things that you can do. So you have to come and listen to us.
Erica, those numbers again, how can the listening public, or the viewing public in this case, can contact you, and how can they reach out to you?
Okay, we are located at Tuya in Wadawaj, and again, our telephone number is 724-5375 or 717-4455. We are on Facebook, Carmen Penco School of Fashion Arts, and our email is cpsfashionarts@gmail.com.
This has been Fashion Sense on Newsmaker Live. I have been your host, Laura Japierre. See you again next week.